This is Dave Meltzer with Entrepreneurs, the Playbook, and I have the biggest waiting room behind me, 63,000 seats, filled waiting for the Playbook with Daniel Mack. Welcome to SoFi Stadium, my friend.
Oh, thanks for having me. This is quite the setting.
Yeah, people think it's a green screen.
Yeah.
You almost have to like wave your arms so people know that like this is really here.
It's crazy.
To that point, you built quite a following, I think over 20 million people in all the different platforms. But there is a difference on how you do it, meaning that it's not just the audio anymore. There has to be a tie-in where people can learn by watching and seeing the actual energy of it beyond just voice. I wish, looking like me, it would just be voice, but I've always found that, whether it's the Win in the lobby of the Win in our studio there, or SoFi, or the other studio we have in Orange County, this kind of stuff makes a difference. How much have you put in, since you're the king of content, into thinking about the actual scenery side of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, like you're saying, it's huge because people do like hearing audio and whatnot, but like being able to visualize, especially I do it with automotive kind of stuff like that. It's massive. Like I shoot during the day. I make sure like lighting's right. There's a lot of things to keep in mind when you're shooting, but video is king, especially short form video right now is just dominating. So yeah.
On the automotive side, I mean, obviously you built your brand by asking really intriguing questions about how people got their luxury vehicles originally. How much have you tied in the automobile industry or the exotic car industry into what you're doing?
Yeah, what's interesting is it's about cars, but it's also even more important is the people. So people, for example, I'll be at a car show or I'll be on the street and I'll see like a Bugatti drive by, or I could have somebody in like a car that's like 10 times less expensive. And it's really about the people and what they have to say, but it also meshes with automotive. So it's kind of like a mix of a car account, but also like an entrepreneur account at the same time. And those kind of go together, and cars seem to be the best vehicle, no pun intended, for how people get wealthy that you can like visualize on the street. Like how can you walk up to someone unless they're wearing like crazy, and I'm not a proponent of like spending all your money on crazy brands or anything like that, but it's the easiest way to say like that guy is wealthy. And that's why I did it originally, was I walked up and said like, how does this person afford this Ferrari? Like I wasn't even the biggest car guy, which is funny. Right. Now I'm a big car guy, but I was like, how did they do it? So I'm going to walk up and film it and find out. And that's kind of, where the car is tied into it. And now it's the car account. Yeah. And
you have your own podcast as well, the Daniel Mack podcast, the show itself. And for you, you've been able to incorporate that initial idea of learning about human nature and wealth into really facilitating other questions. What are some of the things that you're trying to get out of your interviews that are a little bit different than just, hey, how can you afford this car?
Yeah, I just like, what is the key to success? Really, I'm speaking to like a younger audience. Like, recently in the last year, I've walked up to people and I just said like, what, if you have one piece of advice, if you go back in time and tell your 18-year-old self, how do you become wealthy? How do you do it? But aside from just wealth, it's also like how to be happy. I think there's a lot more than just wealth that comes with like overall satisfaction in life. So I'll ask people like, what makes you content in life? Why, like, what does success mean to you? How did you reach that path? So yeah, it's just kind of a mix of all that stuff. There's only so much you can beat the dead horse on one question, but it has stuck around for so long because I think it's such a simple question that has so much more to it.
And one of the tricks of the trade, or one of the strategies that I've had in building my brand, is collaborations. But being, open to all types of entrepreneurs, all ages, all different sizes and shapes and colors and interests. And it's really helped me out. Have you been able to do any collaborations yourself that have had that same exponential positive impact?
Yeah, we try to, like exactly what you're saying, we try to collab with whoever we can. A lot of times we'll do like skit versions of it, but we've interviewed Joe Biden. Like the White House invited me out. Like him or not, it's still the president, so it's super cool. Yeah, I'd get Trump in a video, I'd get Biden in a video.
They're super interesting.
Yeah. So we've done crazy people. We've done like Richard Branson, we've done like Helen Mirren, we've done like a lot of just, like, it's crazy the laundry list of people we've done, and I'll interview anyone, like regardless of like their political, religious, whatever beliefs.
You don't have to agree with the person you're interviewing. That's the one thing I get frustrated at. I'm like, just because I'm interviewing someone doesn't mean I have to agree with what they're talking about or disagree. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I have an idea for a collaboration with me.
Yeah.
I want to go out with you, and then anyone in a super nice car, you ask what you normally do, and then I'll ask people that are driving like really shitty cars. Hey, what do you do? And then we'll both collaborate together, right? Like, what do you do?
Oh, yeah.
What do you like about it? What don't you like about it? And then get into, and then do like this cool little collab video about showing the differences of mindset, heart set, and hand set. And you're going to run into, because take it from someone when, you know, my first time getting wealthy before I lost over 100 million, I drove only luxury cars.
Oh, okay.
Right. And then I decided that I would only drive a Chevy Volt after, when I made my money back.
The Buffett approach, kind of, yeah.
But I think it'd be cool if we ran into someone like, you know, a Buffett approach guy that's driving some piece of shit car.
There's some low-key people out there. They're like,
But they'd be interesting, and then especially with your brand and my brand, to be able to like ask the people questions regardless of the cars that they drive, and then figure out what makes them mark. What are some of the lessons though? Because you've been doing this a while at the highest level, like you said. You've interviewed, like me, just the best and brightest. You know, what are some of the takeaways over the years that really have been either surprising or just exciting to you?
I'll give you like the technical, like just straight up, like what I've learned, like with the sample size I have. If you want to get wealthy, if we're just talking about strictly like accumulating money, you have to own a business. You have to own a business. Like I'll interview doctors and stuff like that, but you can't drive like a, and I don't like, I'm not a proponent of like spending all your money on like a depreciating asset, like a car. Like if you have like disposable income and you want to like treat yourself, be my guest. But like, so as far as like that background, I'll state that, but you have to own a business. Every single one of the people that drive like crazy hypercars, you can only make so much like working for someone else. Real estate, number one. Every person I talk to, for the most part, like 95% that own like these nice cars have some form of real estate. And I've interestingly learned college versus no college. I think it's like a 50-50 split for me. Like I'll roll up to people in Bugattis and they're like, screw college. And I'll walk to other people and they're like, yeah, I did college and then I started a business. But they always start a business and they always have real estate. That's like my two, like, that's the combo. And there's a few exceptions, but yes.
No inheritance guys?
Oh, there's plenty of daddy's money. Usually though, sometimes they won't admit it, but sometimes they'll just straight up be like, yeah, I have a trust fund. I inherited it. And I'm like, well, good on you on not like pretending like you did it yourself. Like be grateful. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. I would love the transparency of that as well. So, and then, you know, starting your own business, there's an old saying. And in fact, when you were in our studio at the Wynn, Chris Gardner was there from The Pursuit of Happiness, right? He talks about being the guy to sign the front of the check instead of the guy signing the back of the check, right? In other words, you own the business. To that end, though, there's also this content play that you didn't really expect. And you built a community. And I try to help people understand how important it is to build a community, regardless of whether you're Daniel Mack or Dr. Pimple Popper or David Meltzer, entrepreneur, right? We all have a frequency or a neighborhood, but you have to, in my opinion, be consistent about building that community. How important it is to be consistent when you're building, I mean, over 20 million people, that's no joke. Just because you ask a question and you're funny doesn't mean you're capable of building a big community.
Yeah.
It's like Brad Pitt when he was on David Letterman. He's like, yeah, but you're so good looking. And Brad Pitt goes, dude, do you know how many good looking people there are in the world? Yeah. Like, I must be a talented actor.
Yeah.
You must be really talented when it comes to content creation and distribution. What are some of the secrets?
I think it's exactly what you're saying, consistency. Because, like, you know, there's copycats out there. They usually fizzle out. So when I first started doing my what do you do for a living thing, there was a million that popped up. There's still, like, it's kind of like a subgenre now, but people will usually do it for a little and then they get tired of walking up to strangers every single weekend. And if you do it for, like, we've been doing it for 2.5 years or so, it's like you got to be like balls to the wall as far as like getting up and being consistent and posting every day. And I will say also, platform dominance on everything is hard to do. Like people will be big on like TikTok. Not like I'm platform dominating or anything like that, but TikTok might be banned. People are saying like, and it really is kind of like investing. It's like diversifying your portfolio. I try and post on every platform. Like Facebook, people are like, oh, Facebook's dead. It's not dead. There's 1.9 billion active users. Maybe in America you think it's dead, but it's one of my biggest revenue drivers. It's my biggest, basically, almost. So yeah, I'd say just like posting like your short form clip. If you already have it, post it on YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, TikTok, other ones. I'm forgetting LinkedIn, maybe. I don't know. So, and doing it consistently, like I post every day or every other day. I don't take like a month-long hiatus and then come back. So it's like, it's a grind. It's a grind. I'll tell you. Yeah, Jesus. I won't bring in Jesus over there.
Yeah, we love Jesus.
Yeah, but like it's a madhouse, and in working for yourself, a lot of people think it's easy. They're like, oh, you're just a TikToker that does dances or something because they don't know my account. They just think TikToker, and I'm like, I work more than my regular 9 to 5 times like 3 now. Like I'm always working, so it's like you just gotta,
It's so true too, because I come from the 9 to 5 world, right? There was no such thing as any of these when I was running big businesses. And, my wife, who has been with me, I met her in the 4th grade, but been married 25 years. She's like, people don't realize, in fact, Dr. Kim Vu's back there watching, right? He'll tell you that, he's a prestigious doctor, right? UCLA, like prestigious. And I guarantee he'll tell you that the amount of hours and intention that he gives to his content is more than that which a doctor puts in.
Yeah.
And I bet you do as well.
It's just like you wake up and when you're going to sleep, like it's just constantly work. Yeah. And people laugh. They're like, "Oh, working." And I'm like, it's business, Like, yeah.
When I got involved, I already had my life, right? 4 kids. I had already lost over 100, made it back. I ran famous businesses. So I always find it interesting because I get to meet really cool young people like you, that your content is your business. And yet you've never really run a business like, Samsung or whatever. And I don't think people also realize that you've given up so much of your life for this content.
Yeah, I had a 9 to 5 regular night, like in finance, right out of college, and then I just quit it. I was like, okay, let's go. Yeah.
Right, but friend-wise, what I've seen, and I'm blessed to be close to some really big TikTokers as well, is that they have a challenge because so many young people just want a picture with you, or it's hard to have a relationship because, like, even your friends, all of a sudden, you see them for the first time and like, oh, can we do a TikTok together? Right? Have you had challenges in your personal relationships from the TikTok fame or the content creation?
Yeah, I have been asked. I say it's my own personal purgatory, but I've been asked what I do for a living. They go, "Oh, let me film it." Like anywhere we go, it's like, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" And I'm like, yeah. But it's my purgatory for running up to people and asking them. I think it's kind of funny. I don't let it bother me, but with relationships, it's really difficult because I'm traveling. Like, I think I've been on like 70 flights already, like this year, and it's like April. Like every other day, like we're basically like hopping on a plane. So like trying to keep relationships with your family, with other like romantic relationships, stuff like that is really hard to juggle. Like right now, I don't even feel like I could so I don't know how you do it as well with children, a wife. I'll ask you about that later, but yeah, it's hard. You have to kind of give and pull, but I think it's you have to find the balance and really keep like your circle small, because you can't appease everyone. And I can't even tell you how many people hit up my phone or call me or DM me like wanting something or wanting to have me promote something for them for free. But like, think about, everyone thinks they're just hitting you up out of the blue. But if you have everyone do it, I'm getting hit up like every day by everyone. And you just have to drown out the noise kind of and find out who like is your real friends or who's just trying to like mooch off you kind of.
Yeah, bleeders and feeders. That's the way that you have to start, or else you're going to be bled and it's going to be difficult to maintain those relationships. What do you do for fun now? Because one of the things that I found really interesting is I'm always blending activity I get paid for, activity I don't get paid for with my content.
Yeah.
Because it is consistent.
Yeah.
So I'm always interested, obviously you get to do a lot of fun stuff naturally inherent in what you're doing, but is, golf, or is there something that you just do for your own personal enjoyment?
Yes, it's an interesting question there, because we are moving around so much that it's kind of like when we're doing something fun, we're also documenting it, which is kind of like psycho, honestly. So like, I wish I could be like, yeah, I just took up this brand new hobby and I need to like carve out more time, because in the last like couple months, things have gotten so crazy with our schedules that like finding time, I think it's so important, and I haven't been doing it enough to like find something where I'm not filming, I'm not doing anything. Because usually when we're doing fun stuff, it's also like part of the program kind of thing. So I do go to car shows, but I find that fun, but I'm also filming there. I don't really have like a hobby right now that I have time for, and I need to like make that a thing, because it like will like say, I need to like start like working out or something, or like going on runs or something like that, because like, it's like, yeah, de-stress. So I don't really have a good answer for you right now, and I need to find something like that.
Now, that's where I can help you, making sure that we give a minimum amount of time. Because a guy that's as consistent as you, you'll find it easy to figure out, one of these things that you can do no matter where you're at, because it'll make all the difference as you get older. When you're younger, doesn't really matter, but as you get older, it's definitely a secret sauce to having that balance, because your community is only going to get bigger. Even if they ban TikTok, the way that you built it, and I've tried to build mine in the same way as a community, people that did well on Vine, all those people moved over to another platform. And they had other platforms already going. So I don't think that's going to be an issue. What is your vision? Because things move so quickly. And I'm still a business person. So if they cut off all my social media, I'm still making money, helping people and having fun. But I'm 55 years old, like I said, with the family and all of that. For you, what's your vision? What do you envision for yourself 10 years from now?
I mean, the account in general is, if you boil it down, it's more about interviewing people and finding out. I mean, it's about automotive for sure. That's my whole thing, and that's what I love. But really, at the end of the day, it's also about just finding out. I think wealth is the general pillar that it's built on. So we do cribs videos, we do watch collections, we do like inspirational interviews where I find out like interviewing people like you, automotive collections, all that kind of stuff. But if you boil it down, at the end of the day, I'm still an interviewer. So I could see myself going into maybe being on a TV show, doing something like that, where I'm a host, or I think there's a lot of different avenues. And I wish I could give you a more general plan that I have out, but I feel like that's not really how it always works out. So I try to keep it broad, and I've tried to like I said, diversify my style of content. I don't think luxury is going away. People are always there's lifestyles, rich and famous, cribs. There's always new stuff that'll always be around, and people are fascinated with how to accumulate wealth. So I just have kept it broad, and I know the what do you do for a living question, it's broad. It's been around for 2.5 years. It can't stay forever. So I'm trying to kind of secure myself so that if it does completely fail, I can do other stuff like that, like interview people, be a host, be all that. But yeah, it is broad. I'm surprised it's worked out this long, actually.
I'm not surprised at all, because it really is determined by your skills, your knowledge, and your desire. And when you are able and capable at such a young age to have such great skill in interviewing, conversations, great knowledge of who and what, which is attributing to the elevated brand that you have, but also just that consistent desire. You're truly interested, right? You're not one of those people, and I see the difference. Someone like Daniel Mack is interested when he's talking to people. You're not trying to be interesting. And that comes across in a very authentic way, which will resonate, and it always has resonated in that luxury space. And I think more people will tend to kind of guide you. I always say, if you know what you want today and a trajectory of what you think you want, you'll be fine. It's those people that attach their emotions to, I want to be an ESPN commentator someday, that get in trouble.
Dead set on one specific thing.
Yeah, well, and the proof is in the pudding when you talk about Daniel Mack, the Daniel Mack Show. He is doing it every single day, and I would put my money and any bet you want that he'll be even more successful no matter what happens. We're blessed to have you, Daniel Mack, the day that you stepped into my studio and now here at SoFi, giving your playbook to success, which is probably more relevant to all generations of advice than all the other huge entrepreneurs we've had on here. What we've learned here today can help every single person out there how to build a community by being yourself and creating great content to help others. That's what Daniel Mack does. That's what they do on the Daniel Mack Show. Thank you, Daniel Mack, for joining me here.
Thank you for having me.
You got it, man. The Playbook with Dave Meltzer and Daniel Mack in SoFi Stadium.